Am I the idiot for ruining Christmas by kicking out my daughter-in-law for humiliating me? I have 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl. I get along really well with 2 of their spouses. Patrick is a little different. He has always been asocial and introverted and could be cruel to his little sister, making fun of her and putting her and her interests down. Patrick met daughter-in-law 15 years ago, they got married 8 years ago. Daughter-in-law is the one I struggle with. I've tried to be as inviting and warm and loving to her as all the other spouses. She's also mean to my daughter. She makes fun of her and even referred to daughter as a beard because daughter's spouse is effeminate. Sorry if this is confusing, lol. This year when baking cookies with my daughter and daughter-in-law told me to not get Patrick any gifts because he doesn't want any, he hates getting gifts. I've always known Patrick wasn't much for gifts, so we'd go very simple and practical, thinking of things we could upgrade for him, pots and pans, power tools, etc. But daughter-in-law was very insistent about it this year. He was always appreciative and admitted he could use them, but she insisted, so I didn't get Patrick anything. When we opened presents this year, everyone was laughing and having fun. We get to the end and daughter-in-law turns and looks at me and says, "Where's Patrick's present?" I said, "You told me not to get him anything, remember?" She said, "No, I didn't." My daughter says, "Yeah, you did, I was there." Daughter-in-law then laughs and says, "You guys must be off your meds again." Daughter and I both manage mental health issues. So this was an example of daughter-in-law's mean streak. I was so humiliated and upset by her little comment that I just snapped. I told daughter-in-law and Patrick to leave, and to not bother coming by again until daughter-in-law can learn how to be good, and told Patrick that the way he allows her to trash the members of our family is just unacceptable. Daughter is on my side, but Christmas was awkward after that, and my husband and other son told me that I overreacted and that it's just her sense of humor and that I should be used to it by now. Used to what? Being disrespected and mocked in my own home? But I don't know if my actions were too over the top or not. I know I ruined Christmas for them, but what about me? What about my Christmas? You didn't ruin Christmas for anyone, you've made Christmas for everyone, and a person tried to ruin it for you. You tried your best not to allow it. Get over your son. He wasn't a good person before, he won't change until he gets a good reason to. You won't make him. Not the idiot. Besides the humor, she insisted on not making any gift but then called you a liar. She did it intentionally to make you look bad. I would honestly be worried about Dill being mentally and emotionally abusive towards the son. If he already has a hard time creating bonds with people, if she wanted to isolate him, this behavior is a great way to do it. On top of that, him not getting any presents, BC, she lied and said he didn't want any, is super mean to him if he never mentioned anything like that. Obviously, he's not the main target of the bullying in this story, but it sounds like she is just as mean to him as everyone else. Not the idiot. Because how much can someone take before snapping back? But I would also be concerned for the son, even if he's not really in the right here. Your son bullied his little sister and now has his wife do the same. Honestly, they shouldn't be welcome at family gatherings at all unless they apologize and promise to be kind to both of you. It sounds like your husband and other son are so used to your daughter being bullied, they think it is not a big deal. That makes them idiots, too. I'm landing on everyone sucks here because it seems like you never kicked them out until they were just as mean to you as your daughter. You shouldn't have let them be at family gatherings if they were going to bully your daughter. Thank you for the sincere comment. Yes, my husband and other son are used to Patrick bullying my daughter. I wanted to write a lot more about that situation, but there was a word limit on my post. Through the years, I tried to stop the bullying. Patrick would say disrespectful and mean things to me as well, always targeting my mental illness or my general sensitivity. Whenever I would punish him, he'd just act out even further, and eventually, he withdrew so far that he wouldn't talk to anyone but his father because his father lets him get away with things. There was always a lot of, "Oh, I can't say anything to anyone now, can I?" A lot of the things that he said to my daughter we didn't even know about until years later when she moved away from home and told us part of the reason was because of Patrick's meanness to her over the years and how she never felt she could come forward because her father would just tell her to buck up and learn to deal with people not liking you and things like that. Somehow it was never targeted at his brother. Funny how your husband never told Patrick to learn to deal with people not liking him when he threw tantrums about not being able to say anything to anyone. I guess Patrick and daughter-in-law are allowed to be thin-skinned whiners. I agree very much about that. My husband for some reason holds my daughter and in a way our other son to different standards than he holds Patrick. I was told by his brothers and sisters that it's a firstborn son thing, but I've always thought it was a cop-out. Yes, I've said things about it, but my husband always said I was exaggerating, siblings tussle, etc. Come to find out that my husband isn't very close to his siblings because he was much the same way. Am I the idiot for not telling our daughter she was adopted, resulting in her being child-free? On my wife's side, a lot of her family has a medical condition. She has it, her mother and brother had it, her maternal grandmother had it, and so on. I know it's not genetic but something there makes it more prevalent in her family tree. When we were trying for a baby, we did genetic testing on ourselves and my wife has a lot of the genetic markers that can contribute to RA. We decided to adopt instead of subjecting our child potentially to this. We adopted a child which was seized from birth. We adopted her when she was 3 months old. She's 21 now and we haven't told her she was adopted. She looks like us, so there was never suspicion on her end. I feel like it can do no good telling her, so we don't. Or at least I thought this until she told us recently she was thinking about our family a lot and decided to be child-free since she believes RA runs through the family, even to her. She wants to seek surgery to assure this, which terrifies us. We asked her about adoption if she's so concerned with her genetics and she said she would never do that as it's wrong and disgusting to raise another person's kid. We never raised her like this, not one bit. This came out of the left field. Now it seems like it's a clash of do we tell her she's adopted so she doesn't have this medical concern, but then she'll be upset she's adopted, or do we not tell her and things stay the course, but then she'll never have kids? We're not sure if we're going to tell her she's adopted, but we want to know if we're the asshole. Edit. We're not sure if we want to tell her. Some of the ideas here, such as getting her screened, can abate my guilty conscience at least and give her the information she needs. You're the idiot. This will not be a pleasant conversation, but if I were you, I'd assume it'll come out at some point. She's also contemplating unnecessary surgery which could be dangerous. All surgery carries risk. This is an opportunity to understand why she feels this way about adoption before revealing that she is herself or beneficiary of this wrong and disgusting thing, hopefully changing her attitude for the better. You're the idiot if you don't tell her, and frankly for not telling her sooner. She's considering a permanent decision over something that's not even true. Plus when she goes to the doctor she presumably gives them a false family medical history which can affect her care. This doesn't matter to you. Her comment about adopted kids was cold, but being adopted is not something you should keep from your children. The fact that she's 21 and doesn't know. Were you really planning to never tell her? From the sounds of it, this family was perfectly content letting this girl think they were her biological parents. Pretty bad considering she has no clue what medical history her bio family could have, as an adopted child. From birth. You're the idiot. Seriously, you're the idiot. You deprived her of an accurate medical history that could seriously have impacted her life. If I hadn't known my medical history and gotten earlier and regular screenings, they never would have caught my cervical cancer early enough to do something about it. 19 and 21 years old, very early to develop cervical cancer. Whatever attitudes you had towards adoption, adopted children could absolutely have been passed down to her since you were clearly biased against telling her about her own adoption. Now you're stuck in a lose of her finding out either from you or from a doctor when she gets genetic testing. You need to tell her. Be honest with her. Listen to her reaction and try to be understanding with whatever reaction she has and accepting of however she decides to deal with this information. Am I the idiot for telling my ex I'm not giving him money for a party? I, 32F, have 2 children, 11F, and 8 meters, with my ex. He left me after cheating with his current wife for more than 3 years, and we have been divorced for 2 years now. His wife has 3 children who are younger than our kids. Ex and I mostly share custody. I am the primary parent because my ex only gets Monday through Thursday every other week because of his work schedule. Anyway, the kids did not get any birthday parties this year because of COVID, which obviously was tough for them. So I promised that as soon as it is safe to do so, I will throw them each a birthday party to make up for it, because it's likely they will miss their next parties too. Ex brought up at his house over Christmas that they won't be able to afford parties for all the kids at their house for at least another year. Our kids said it was okay because I was going to make up for missing birthday parties during COVID. Ex told me if I am going to do that for our kids, I should give him a lump sum in child support, which I never paid. He does though, so all the kids can have parties in the future, and that it's unfair to throw them a party each under the circumstances when his stepkids won't get them and won't be invited, and they'll know from kids at school, etc. I told him I'm not paying for his stepkids to have birthday parties. He called me an a-hole and said I need to consider the best interest of the family. I told him I am. That I am considering the best interest of my family, my kids. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You are only responsible for your kids, not the kids of the woman he cheated on you with. The effing audacity. Absolutely not the idiot. Why does he think that you, not he and his wife, is the stepkid's dad in the picture, should have any responsibility for paying for their parties? Also, what kind of parties are these that they can't afford them? Stepkids are still in the single digits. Are they planning giant extravaganzas for them? Not the idiot. It is not your job to provide for his stepchildren. You owe him nothing. If you want to throw a party for your kids, go for it, but you are under no obligation to give him a lump sum of CS for children that aren't even yours. CS is for your children, and you don't even pay CS in the first place for your children. So why would you pay it for somebody else's kids? Am I the idiot for telling an employee that pregnancy is not an excuse for low productivity? I work in an office. Due to the nature of our work and our employer, we are not working remotely right now, where I supervise a team of 3 people. The end of the year is our crunch time, and it means that my entire team is putting in more hours than normal, and everyone is expected to answer their phones and emails pretty much round the clock. Christmas accepted. Of course, most of my team is doing great, except for one woman I'll call Kara. Kara told me 2 weeks ago that she is pregnant, and she is about 10 weeks along. The only reason she told me in the first place was because I had to write her up for not being as available as she needed to be. She was calling in sick at least once a week for the past 4 weeks, and when she was at the office she was not 100% focused on her work. She explained that she has severe morning sickness and that she has been vomiting multiple times per day, and some days she needed to take off. I agreed to work with her and told her that she can come in later and stay later if she needs to get around the morning sickness, but she apparently is sick all day. I made other concessions, too. I am allowing time off for doctor's appointments and allowing her to take more frequent breaks throughout the day. Apparently she can no longer eat a regular lunch, and must eat multiple times during the day. This all seemed perfectly reasonable to me, as long as she held up her part of the bargain and maintained her productivity during this stressful time. Well, she has not. She has called out sick once already since then, and she has not made herself available for calls during off hours. My other staff is staying at the office until 8 or 9 in the evening, but Kara is out by 6 and apparently goes straight to sleep when she gets home and keeps her phone muted during that time. We have had to scramble to cover for her. Her work quality has also suffered, as apparently she has difficulty concentrating due to headaches and won't take anything for them. I sat her down yesterday and relayed my concerns. She acknowledged how her lack of productivity has hurt the rest of the staff, but claimed that she is physically struggling a great deal. I told her that was no excuse because she is only in her first trimester and barely even pregnant yet. I also questioned whether it was fair to other women that she was using a normal bodily function as an excuse for low productivity. This is what women fought to counteract during the feminist movement. She said she understood and would try to do better. I told my wife about it, and she called me an asshole, saying that I have no idea how hard pregnancy can be. I just think that it is unfair for an entire staff to pick up someone's slack because they made a personal decision to become pregnant. So, am I the idiot? You're the idiot. It sounds like she has HG. You might not know what it is, but I am still recovering from it. It hits you in the first trimester, and before modern medicine, you could die from it. That's not me being dramatic, it's a fact. You vomit so much you start to dehydrate. You can fall into a coma. You can die from malnourishment. I lost over 13% of my body weight in a month's time, was hospitalized 3 times, and it took me 6 weeks after the HG had passed to get me back on track physically. Your employee is sick. She may have chosen to get pregnant, but she didn't choose to get sick because of it. Whether she really has HG or not is up for a doctor to decide, but she needs support and medical aid, not a supervisor that complains about slacking because they don't understand how much of a strain her body is put under right now. I'm going to say this loudly. You need to stop pushing her right now, because if she gets a miscarriage due to mental and/or physical stress, it will be your fault. If you're in the USA, then that's the idiot too, because the laws don't protect sick and/or pregnant employees like they do where I live. You're the idiot. Bonus R points for the mansplaination of the feminist movement. You're right that it's not fair to the rest of your team, and that sucks. But she's not making this up. Look at it like a temporary disability and make the accommodations. You're the idiot.